64, 74. It's a 74-year-old in the lead. Here comes 64 on the left. Let's figure out what Chrissy and I think is the sweet spot that you need to know so you can be most successful in your Philippine adventure. The answers that people really want the most, right to the point. What's the sweet spot? There's a lot of right answers. There's a lot of wrong answers. Let me tell a quick story. I have this friend, and he spent 6 months in Medellin and 6 months in Florida, but he met his Filipina in Angeles City, of all places. Oh. And the mother of the Filipina, she had a sweet spot for the Filipina. So this Filipina she was like 18, 19. Mm-hmm. She dated a Westerner for like 6 months, and he dropped her. And the mother was sort of really disappointed because the future for her daughter was, went bad. So she sat the girl in the McDonald's in Angeles City, and she told her, "You sit here until you meet a foreigner." And my friend came along. He met her. He fell in love. They've been married 13 years. Really? 13 years. They come back for a month here and there to the Philippines, but mostly they vacation. They own a condo in Medellin. So theirs was a sweet spot for a Filipina.
Yeah, but I don't really like the act of the mother, though. It's like,
in Angeles City, of all places.
In Angeles City, and you're going to put your child
But she didn't put her on the street. She just sat her in the McDonald's.
And don't go away.
Well, he walked in. He saw this beautiful Filipina just sitting there all by herself.
Maybe we should hang around in McDonald's.
Right. Maybe they should see what's going on in McDonald's. Chrissy, today we're going to talk about the sweet spot. You know, sometimes I'll use that expression and I'll say, well, the sweet spot to live, the sweet spot to date, the sweet spot to meet a Filipina, the sweet spot geographically, the sweet spot for food. We have here, what do you have in your wine glass? You don't have wine.
One of the things that we miss doing is this. You know what? Speaking about sweet spot, before, when we talk about it, just because of our YouTube videos, I thought it's just really like a sweet spot, the preference, the ideal. But then when you talked to me about it last night, somehow I realized that sweet spot is being used by some other terms as well. I didn't know. I'm not an English speaker. So maybe sometimes if I talk in the public, like, you know what, the sweet spot, maybe the people will give me away.
Well, there's sweet spots and sweet spots. And today we've got a list. I think there's about 15 or so in there. And, we're just going to go right to the answers that you're looking for. The who, how, what, when, and where. How to Philippines, how to meet Filipinas, where to meet Filipinas, what to eat, healthcare. There's a lot of just straight to the point questions without all the fluff. Let's figure out what Chrissy and I think is the sweet spot that you need to know so you can be most successful in your Philippine adventure. All right, Chrissy.
Yeah, and this time Rob was the one who wrote this.
Yeah, I wrote them down.
I don't have an idea what's this. Okay. Should I go first?
Maybe I should go first because I wrote them down.
Okay.
They're not in any particular order. Age of your Filipina and the age of the expat.
What is the sweet spot age of the Filipina? Okay. And actually, we can talk about a little bit of the age gap also. What is the ideal age gap that is kind of reasonable and acceptable in the Philippines, but never will be in West, actually?
Well, it's half your age plus 7 is the normally socially acceptable. So if you can manage half your age plus 7, you can go back to the West and be accepted. I'm getting stuck by the bougainvillea here. For me, I recommend retirement at 62 and get busy. That's what I recommend. I think 62 is an ideal age for an expat here in the Philippines. You would be considered quite young as an expat, I think, by most Filipinas. And they, to be honest with you, the average Filipino would rather meet a 62-year-old than a 68-year-old. Just the reality of life. I think that if you're willing to start a family, 25 to 30 is the sweet spot. And if you don't want to start a family, Chrissy was 29 when I met her and had a 4-year-old son. I think that's the sweet spot. Someone who is between 27 and 33, but preferably 27 to 30, one child. That is, in my opinion, the sweet spot. And even if you're 68 or 72, it's still the sweet spot. Just because you're 70 doesn't mean you have to go looking for a 45, 55-year-old Filipina. I think there's a large amount of women here that will accept a very large age gap. Chrissy, what do you think the sweet spot is?
Well, I believe that each individual have their own sweet spot. But for generally speaking, I think around 25 to 40 is like the sweet spot. If you're already around 55 to 68, and when you are around 70 plus, you could do with 35 to 40.
Okay, what else we got here? My turn? Let's see what we got. Where and what to eat. Okay, so this is it. My sweet spot. I've said this before. There's a rotisserie chicken stand like every 12 meters in the Philippines, and you can get them delivered by motorcycle. Number 2, the wet markets have fresh lettuce, tomatoes, carrots, onions, all the vegetables, eggplant. They're super cheap when you go and you buy them at every town has a big wet market. And then I import Thai curry paste, and then you can get good ground beef. At first, I thought we could only get it at Costco or S&R, but you can actually get it just up the street at Gaisano's if you get it in the morning when it's fresh. And you can make yourself a cheeseburger at home. We don't eat, that's the only beef we really eat. And then the other thing, Chrissy, is what I've realized, and at Cambigan Island, it was so true. Westerners will have restaurants and they will make Western food. And if they can get good ground beef, they'll make a good burger. And if they can buy frozen salmon from Costco, they'll make a decent salmon plate for you. We have a friend that owns Cuesta Roca. We were there last night, and here's Evelyn making pizza. Let's look at Evelyn. Evelyn trained under like a Italian chef who ran like a 5-star hotel chain, food and beverage department.
It's really nice that you can see how your pizza that you ordered being baked.
Right. Evelyn, the owner. Hey, Evelyn! Look at this. What kind of pizza are you making?
It's a combination of like Alfredo, creamy Alfredo, and what was that? Beef botanesca.
Ah, half and half. It's a really affordable, high-quality Western meal. And there's also KL Clubhouse here in town, and Danny puts on a really good barbecue every 2 weeks, and there's really good Western food. You can spend the same amount of money and just get Filipino food. When we go to Cuesta, they have both. They have Filipino food, they have Western food, and it's as good. It's like eating at a really good restaurant in the West for like 1/4 the price.
Yeah, I mean, you get the value of the price, of what you pay.
So that's the sweet spot. Find the Western-owned restaurants that are affordable, who cook food that'll remind you of back home. And there will be 1 or 2 in every town. And when we were in Cambigan, that Chill's restaurant was owned by a Frenchman. That was amazing quality food. There wouldn't be one restaurant like that at a mall anywhere in the Philippines. You would never find a restaurant that good at a mall.
That's why I always advise to the expats or to the aspiring expats here in the Philippines that you can make your own food if you really want a Western style food, because it's very difficult to find good food in the Philippines if you're going to find restaurants. I mean, good restaurants and good food.
We have online or in person, where to look. Okay, so, we did
Obviously.
You go first. Okay, you go first, obviously.
Obviously,
Look for Chris.
we found that our sweet spot was online because we found each other online.
And
but, the other person will find online a risk to do.
Not their cup of tea, maybe,
Yes, not their cup of tea, because of today's scammers. It's really rampant, and they're it's growing.
So,
scammers are growing. They're not eliminating. It's growing.
Yeah. We did a video just 6-7 videos ago called How to Find a Filipina. And I give very specific how to find online and in person. And this is how I found Chrissy. So if you're interested, check out that video. But we did a survey, and 30% met on Filipino Cupid. Now, Christian Filipina, a lot of people use that, but it's very pricey, and I don't have first-person experience. Chrissy used it. She didn't think it was, a big superior.
Yeah.
We think that the number one place from the survey, we had several hundred, almost 300 responses, and it was Filipino Cupid. And you can get 90 days for like $110.
And our friend Kit and Crush,
they met on Filipino Cupid also. But we've met couples from Dating in Asia, and we met others. Facebook was second with 9% friend requests on Facebook. Our friend that just moved in up the street, they met on Facebook friend requests. We think online is a way to search a target-rich environment. You get to search the whole country. Sometimes in person is what people believe, and the simplest thing is just come pick a city and settle in and meet people. Eventually, you're going to get hooked up. But, you know, I think Filipino Cupid Online, Cebu City IT Park for in-person is probably the easiest place, but there's a lot of people. You're going to see a lot of other guys with the same thing in mind. You're not the only one there. And you do need to figure out when they're at this Cebu night market. They work odd hours. You can't just go out there at lunchtime and expect to see call center girls in need of a Western boyfriend. You got to go there at 11 p.m. to the night market. You got to go there at 6 a.m. when they get off work and they're at the coffee shop. You got to figure out their schedule.
Yeah, and like before, Rob, we're suggesting you go to a coffee shop and maybe you can find an office girls, call center girls that are hanging out in the coffee shop, you know,
but
waiting for their time.
Not normal hours.
Yeah, but not normal hours actually. But yeah, you know, you can do a lot of things when you're here, boots on the ground. Now, how far in advance? What is the sweet spot time range for you?
45 to 60 days. Go online, get your online tool going. And when you meet that special someone, so when I met you, I say, I'm on my way to the Philippines. I hadn't purchased the ticket to the Philippines, and I had to cancel and lose a lot of money in Turkey. But I was on my way to the Philippines. And when you are trying to compete, because when you meet a girl like Chrissy, you're not the only one with eyeballs. And then, Chrissy, if for some reason you run into a short con or a long con and you end up being scammed, then you know, you arrive in the Philippines, you can do boots on the ground hybrid online. And what I say is 2 coffee dates and go out and from 3 to 4, try and meet girls in the mall and the coffee shop.
Yeah. You know what? Here's the funny thing about Filipina looking for foreigners, because usually Filipina will go online. Because Filipina believes that the foreigner that's already boots on the ground, they already met someone. That is why Filipinas who are single and want to meet foreigners, most of them will go online. And
this is really important. Like for me, the sweet spot is a girl who doesn't have photos on her Facebook page of 5-star resorts wearing a bikini. She doesn't, she's never dated a foreigner in person. You will be the first expat she ever went on a real date with.
That's your sweet spot.
That's my sweet spot. And what Chrissy's saying, I think, is very, very true. They don't want you having been to Cebu City and Boracay and Baguio, and now you're rolling into, you know, Bacolod, and she's the 7th Filipina you've been dating, because they know what that means.
Well, if a woman is also just wanting to have fun and have someone to, you know, like be in a vacation with, I think they will, you know, they will just deal with it, I think. But if it's a Filipino is very serious and wanting to have a husband, yeah.
And if you just want some transactional fun, where you know you just want to meet a girl who will go to a resort with you or really get fast moving.
It's a lot of them.
Tinder's the worst thing to meet a real girlfriend, a real potential wife. But in the Philippines, you can change your location, you can do Tinder, and you can right away meet the kind of girls that are going to go with you to resorts. And they've been with other men to resorts too. But that's the sweet spot. Your microphone's in the sweet spot, actually. You know.
Did I say something? Wait, let me do it first.
Okay. Yeah, put that one back. Wait a sec. I go.
Okay. What's the sweet spot? House, condo, or townhome?
Do you want to go first?
I would say house.
I would say house.
Now, if we got the same sweet spot.
Yeah. If you're, you know, as you know, we started in a townhouse. And I think I got an email last night at 3 a.m. I think we met somebody who might be living in our former townhouse, and they were talking about the catering company across the street emptying the truck at 11 p.m. Maybe there's only been there a short while. They haven't got the 2 a.m. emptying. The townhouses in the Philippines, the construction is such that the noise just travels. You can hear people going up the steps in the townhouse next door. So I personally think, you know, there's a noise issue here, and we felt we had to get into a single family home to get some space around the house and try and get some quiet. If you are a single man and you want the modern lifestyle of BGC, Cebu City, then maybe a condominium, especially if you're dating and you want to lock and leave. That can be, and when you get up real high on the 30th floor, you get some quiet if you're lucky. If your next door neighbor's not running a business and DHL's not knocking on his door every 12 minutes, you can get lucky and get some quiet.
You know what? Before I heard that if you get a condo, it's a good investment. But then I learned when I met a lot of expats already, and based on their experience, they will really advise you not to get a condo in the Philippines because this is not really a good investment. I don't know why, but you know, I heard before, but just from the Filipinos' perspective, they said it's a good investment.
Yeah, I mean, condo rents have been static, and condo price per square meter has been rising, and that can create some potential for a market correction. And the Philippines in the last 3 or 4 years has been experiencing that, where rents are not rising, but price per square meter is that for some, and the developers are not totally transparent. So in America, for example, you can see every property sale and what was paid. And but here in the Philippines, the condo developers do not reveal what was actually paid for some of the units. So you can't quite get that full transparency. Okay, quickly, we're going to go through these sort of quick. What do you got here? Okay. Where to golf? Well, you know, I can tell you that I golf in Del Monte, an hour from here. Now, we have an SUV, my friend, he drives up. I pay for his caddy for the gas. But it only costs me 700 pesos with the senior discount. And it costs 500 pesos for the caddy, and he gets a tip. And it's very reasonable. They have an awesome restaurant there for lunch after. That's a very reasonable price to play golf. In Manila and Cebu City, you're looking at $100 US to play golf. We have a course just 3 kilometers north of here, which is a Trent Jones course, and it's roughly double the price that I pay. And it's a little hotter too, because it's down here in Uptown instead of the mountains. And you're going to have a cost of about 1,600 pesos to play, plus your caddy fee. So it's going to be, instead of like $23, you're going to pay closer to $50 to play here at Pueblo. But Bacolod has a course that's reasonable, but the big cities in the Philippines are going to have more expensive courses. So you might want to think about where you settle down, and if you're a golfer, you want to have a course that you can play. Now, Del Monte, my buddies have all got the membership, Chrissy. It's like 40,000 pesos for the year. You can play as much as you want. And you can even pull your own bag once you're a member.
Yeah, you don't need to have a caddy, right?
But we use the caddies because we can't see where the ball's going. I have news.
Yeah, and we're going to put that here, right?
Yeah, hey, so check it out. 2 big things about golf. My friend Ivan got me golf lessons. Yeah. And I've taken 2 golf lessons, and I was the world's worst golfer, Chrissy, but you've seen me at the driving range since the lessons. Things are looking up. That's all I'm going to say. And speaking of the golf course, check this out. There was a race on the golf course yesterday between my friend Jim, who just turned 74, and my friend Carrie, who's 64. And check out what they're doing on the golf course. And look at this.
Yeah, go. I don't think you're fast at all. Ready, go. Okay, first one to the ball. Go. 64, 74. The 74-year-old's in the lead. Here comes 64 on the left. It's crazy time on the golf course.
64 was a professional runner.
64 used to be a professional triathlete. Came from behind. Ivan, what do you have to say for 69?
I'm going to go slow. Real slow.
We live long and prosper is our motto. Here we are. It's a field report from the golf course.
They're just having fun. You know, it's so nice to see expats living the best and in the Philippines and, you know, having fun in the golf club and having a Filipino on their side at night.
That's right. Like, that is your best life. Okay, is it me or you? You.
Yeah, I think it's me.
It's you, yeah.
It's me. How to make friends.
You know, this was a challenge for us, Chrissy. We came to Cagayan de Oro. You didn't live here. I hadn't lived here. We had no friends when we first got here. None. I don't think we made any real friends in the first like 30, 60 days. If you can find a group and meet their friends, that's going to be the easiest way. If you have to meet a friend, one friend at a time, and they're not part of a group, it's going to be very, very difficult. And, you know, one of the things about expats in general, a lot of people left their home countries for various reasons. Sometimes they're a little bit edgy or outcasty, some of the expats. And it took us a while to meet what we felt to be comfortable with. And I had to start my own card group and kind of pick certain friends. And that's getting out of hand now. We are at we maxed out and we voted no more new members. We just can't handle it. We can't even play a good game of cards. There's so many of us. And we're going to have to figure out next year what to do, because people are moving to Cagayan de Oro and they know we've got a good group, and we're going to try and find ways to introduce them to our friends without exploding our card game. And even our golf game's getting so big, we have to pick a number to see who plays with who.
You know what? I think one of the challenges that an expat like you will face here in the Philippines is that in finding friends, is that because you will find another expat, but they came from other country, other culture, other place, and you met here in the Philippines, and also another culture and another, norms that you're gonna adjust. So it's very hard to find someone that you will feel comfortable with, and they will feel comfortable with you mutually.
Sometimes there's just because they're an expat, you feel like you should be buddies. But in reality, not all expats will line up perfectly, and you should be more, just like picking a Filipino, you should be a little bit selective and wait until you really meet your good friends. But if you come to like Dumaguete, because there's so many vloggers and so many expats, I don't think that's the way to meet a lot of friends. I think there's just way too many foreigners there. There aren't enough Filipinos to go around. And, here in northern Mindanao, in Cagayan de Oro, if we have 500 expats here, I'd be surprised. And, maybe we see one or two at the mall. And, but we have a good group, and that's, 10 guys. We have a photo here. We had 10, 11 people at cards the other night and their wives. That's way more than you need for a good set of friends. It's a lot.
I think what you really need is, it will only take one true friend for you to find, and then that true friend will connect you to so many friends here in the Philippines. And also our YouTube channel help us to have more friends. There are subscribers that we met that we don't expect that we will become like real friends, like Kit and Crash.
We
went to Comigan.
They were subscribers. They just asked to have coffee with us one day.
I thought that if we're gonna meet them once, that's it, and it's the end of it.
Sometimes it happens, but more often than not, we stayed in touch with a lot of people. Okay, place to live.
Place to live. Well, the sweet spots for that will depend on what kind of person are you. Are you a city person, beach person, mountain person, or are you like a fun person that you want to have fun all the time?
Right. We have a really Western lifestyle. We live in this guard-gated subdivision overlooking, we're 500 feet of elevation. This is one amazing sweet spot. And this house is very unusual. There's not dozens of them right down the block. I always get asked. But we have a very Western lifestyle. We have a pool next door. Monday, we play cards with the guys. Thursday, we go up an hour into the mountains and we golf at a very low cost. There are a couple of Western restaurants nearby. There's good healthcare. It's a city of 800,000 people. If you get out of the downtown area, it starts to look a little bit like Western zoning. For us, this is a sweet spot. But as Chrissy said, if you're Captain Ron and you want to be a beach bum and you want to snorkel and scuba, you might want to be in Darwin near Dumaguete, or you can go up in the hills of Valencia above Dumaguete. Tagaytay has elevation, but it's a little boring. Malay Balay, halfway between CDO and Davao, is very inexpensive and has elevation where you can get cool weather. You might love the beach in Panglao. You might like the mountains in Baguio. It really depends. Do you want the hospitals nearby? Do you want the shopping nearby? Do you want cooler weather? Do you want to be on a beach every day? We love this kind of sweet spot living, but we just got back from Camigan Island and we woke up in the morning, we opened our door and the beach was right there and the sound of the surf overnight and the weather was quite nice. It was really interesting. I don't know if we just got a good spell of weather, but it wasn't hot, stinky and muggy like it normally is at sea level. I'm not sure why. So there are places where you can be on the beach and get a good breeze. Like when you're in Boracay on the ocean side, you get an amazing breeze. And there are other islands here that you can have that. You might not have shopping nearby and other things, but
that's why it's not that I am inviting you guys to come here in Cagayan de Oro, because it will be crowded.
We want to keep it secret, actually.
But for me, I really find Cagayan de Oro as the sweet spot because it's just 1 hour away from the mountain, 1 hour away from the beach, 1 hour away from, actually not 1 hour away. It's just like 30 minutes, 45 minutes away from Costco or SNR. And there's malls. Like you can find everything you want here. Nightlife, there's also nightlife in
It's a
downtown, I
big
heard.
city. Yeah, you heard. Well, it's
Yeah.
850,000, which
Plus-
is a big
yeah.
city.
Plus, if you want to go to an island, Camiguin is not that far, I
Yeah,
realized.
it's really- Anyway, let's see what else we got.
Here, where to get help.
You
Where to get
know,
help.
the sweet spot, if you just don't know, if you've got a very specific question, I always tell people, go to the Facebook group, Philippines Expats. It's hard to see, but in the upper right-hand corner, there's a microscope, and you can search the last 3 years of questions. You don't even have to write a question and wait for the trolls to tell you you're stupid and get mean to you. You can search the last 3 years of questions. And if you have a medical issue or you need a immigration lawyer in a particular island or a divorce lawyer, an annulment lawyer in a particular island, that's a really good sweet spot to look. Of course, Chrissy,
You can email us at flymetothephilippines@gmail.com and you can talk to Rob.
for a 90-minute video consultation for a very reasonable fee. There's a link in the description box to my calendar. If you think one of the things we mentioned, you've got a different sweet spot, go ahead and write in below. We'd like to hear from you. Don't forget to like, comment, and hit the notification bell. Only here.
From Fly Me to the Philippines. See you on our next video.